Welcome back everyone to Eonan's Edge. I'm here today with another budget knife review for you, the Sitivien ST139. Basic specs on this knife: 14C28N blade steel on a drop point blade. You might call it a spear point. I'll call it a drop point for today. Full flat grind, bottom to top, all the way down. We've got stainless steel liners on both sides. It is a liner lock with solid lockup. There's no lock stick on the knife. It's riding on dual ball bearings. It has two-tone textured G10 scales and a stainless steel pocket clip. So let me tell you what I like about the knife. First of all, you get 14C28N on this knife. Sitivien has had a reputation lately for doing a really nice job on this steel. I have a couple of other 14C knives by them that have all had really solid blades on them that have cut well and held an edge the way 14C should. You also get very solid ergos. Small hands, want to stay back here behind the flipper tab? Not a problem. Big hands, looking for a big ample size front choil? Not a problem. The finger choil on this knife is actually quite large. I mean, I have large glove size hands, and you can see that there's still plenty of room up here in front of the choil. So that shouldn't be a problem for anybody, regardless of the size hand you have, unless you have huge gorilla hands. Maybe then the choil might be a little small for you. It's also a good cutting knife. The choil, the comfortability of the knife is really good. The blade spine's got some thickness to it. So the thing is good at doing normal cutting and slicing tasks. It's not too big in your pocket either. It does have a little bit of width to it, but because it's all smooth-sided, you don't stick your hand in your pocket and have any issues with it. The knife actually carries pretty well for EDC. It's also been dubbed the Minions knife for obvious reasons. Subscribers to my channel have taken to calling it the Minions knife, and I can see that. Obviously, it's black and yellow. It's a shorter, more squatty type of knife, but honestly, I have no issues with that. It's kind of a cool nickname. I also love the fact that they did this really nice stainless pivot collar around both sides of the scales. It really adds a nice look to the knife. And even though I'm typically not a fan of brushed satin type of blades like this on knives that have a thick belly like this one kind of does, it looks okay. It actually, because it's all kind of grind brushed down like this, it doesn't look too smudgy, and I think that's a good thing. Are there any issues or dislikes with this little bugger? Well, there's only a couple of small things. So here's where we're going to get into that. The spine jimping. There is some spine jimping on the back of the spine. It is there. If you get your fingers in just the right position, you can get them on that jimping. But for me, my thumb tends to ride just forward of that. It would have been nice if they just added a little bit more here just to make the knife a little more comfortable. If you're holding it in this rearward position like this, yeah, it's right where my thumb sets. But if you're on the choil where you're probably going to do a lot of your cutting, and you have medium to large size hands, they're going to ride up here. You have smaller hands, I would imagine the jimping is probably sufficient. There's a little bit here under the choil on the back of the flipper tab, on the back side of what would be the finger choil. It's functional for deploying the knife nicely, and it fires out there and locks really nice, but I don't really know that it does a lot for you on the grip side. The G10 scales do have some nice texturing to them, just enough to not feel slippery, enough to let you hold on to the knife and get a good purchase on it. But the jimping, I would like to have seen just a tiny bit more. And then the other thing that I've found on this is the liner lock access. Although it is accessible, it's very smooth and it's beveled off, so it's not sharp. It doesn't really bother your thumb. But I find that you really do have to kind of push your thumb in there to get to it. Very small thing on the knife, but the access is there. You can see that it is there, it is accessible, but because it's totally smoothed off, no jimping or any type of texturing to it, I found a couple of times I have a tendency to run my thumb past it. Small thing. And then the final thing on the knife is the pocket clip. So it's not reversible. You can't put it on the other side. The knife does have a small lanyard hole, as you can see, but the pocket clip is just not a deep carry pocket clip. Here is how much of the knife will stick out of your pocket right there when you're carrying it. So for some people that won't be an issue, but for me it's kind of like, man, you could have put these holes anywhere. You could have put this pocket clip straight back here, and then it's kind of an unusual shape. It's like a large spoon, back of a spoon almost. It's not uncomfortable, but it is noticeable because the spoon sticks way up in the air to allow you access to your, getting it into your pants. But the spoon sticks up kind of high, so you do feel it. It does kind of get you here in the fatty part of the hands. So I'm not the hugest fan of the pocket clip. I think this is probably the only weakness in what is otherwise an excellent design and executed budget pocket knife. Again, these are very small things, not big things. Let's do a quick size comparison for you. Let's start out with a knife that's very well known, but is a little bit less popular. Is a little bit smaller, my apologies. Is very popular, but a little smaller than this Sitivien, and that is a wee banter. Let's get that in here properly in the frame. There you go. So you can see there's a little bit more handle space, and there's obviously a little bit more blade length with the banter. Now let's take another knife that's pretty well known that a lot of people have, and surprisingly, these knives are very similar in size. This would be the Demko 8020.5. Now the Demko is a lot thinner, kind of sleeker feeling knife, maybe even you could say smaller feeling in your hand, but you get a similar amount of handle length. There's actually just a skosh more handle length with the ST139. And obviously there's a similar amount of blade length on the ST139 as there is to the Demko. But it gives you an idea. It's generally in this category. It's not a huge knife. It's not a small knife. It is definitely chunkier and fatter this way than the Demko or the Banter. But there you go. That gives you an idea size-wise of what you can expect from the ST139. So let me summarize. For $30 or less, this knife is typically around $29.99 on Amazon. Sometimes there's a 5% off coupon that comes with it. You can get it delivered to your house for under $30 a fair percent of the time. It also comes in 4 different colorways. One of those is a brown burlap micarta. Take your pick. I kind of dig this little Minions look that it has to it. Bananas! It has good blade steel for a budget knife. I really feel like Sitivien has truly nailed the 14C steel budget knife class down pretty well. Would have liked to have seen a little bit different style clip on this thing. That would have made the knife a little more comfortable and it would have deep carried a little bit better. Ample figure choil. Good ergos for almost any size hands. What more could you want for $30? And if you happen to be one of my Minions, well, maybe you need to put a Minions knife in your collection. And this might just be the one. All right, folks, that's all I got for today. This is the Sitivien ST139, $30 or less. Check it out if you get a chance. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time, and stay sharp, folks. Stay sharp.